I don't know about other people, but like hating myself for being gay, trying to not do that. Um, Thinking I'm not gay. I won't be gay. I'll pray to God I'm not. Oh, maybe I'm bi. Oh my God, I'm bisexual. I'm bisexual. That's halfway to straight. So that's half straight. That's who I am. And David Bowie and Elton John had said they were, I guess, at some point in the 70s. And so I thought, that's what I am. And then I even would think, well, I can go to a shrink and get that gay half kind of removed or pushed way down so it's maybe three-quarters straight, one quarter gay. Um, but so then at some point, oh, I'm not bi, I'm gay, and then I'm gay, so the whole thing is like, it was a journey for me, and maybe other people had that similar journey. I don't know.
Hi, everyone. It's Dr. Andrew Rimby, aka Andrew. Thank you so much for listening to the Ivory Tower Boiler Room podcasts. And before you hear today's episode, which I just know you're going to love, can you please do me a favor? And wherever you're listening, if it's Spotify or Apple, please rate and review us. Make sure you're following the podcast. Share it with friends, family, anyone you think would just love hearing this conversation. And you can watch our podcast on YouTube. Yes, we have a YouTube channel. It's called the Ivory Tower Boiler Room, and you'll see the video episode. So please make sure you like the video you're watching and comment. I always respond to the comments. Also, we have a Patreon. So if you don't want any of the ads and you want bonus material, join our Patreon. There's a 1 week free trial. It's patreon.com/Ivory Tower Boiler Room. And the free trial is for the professor level. Without further ado, here is today's exciting episode. Hi, everyone. This is Dr. Andrew Rimby, and welcome back to the Ivory Tower Boiler Room. I cannot wait for you all to be introduced to Jon Kinnally, who is hilarious in his book of essays. I see that he has been surrounded with those who've been on the podcast, like Blair Fell. I have interviewed Jonathan Parks Ramage, whose partner is Ryan
Yes.
O'Connell,
Yeah.
in case people out there don't know. But he was born, Jon, in Syracuse, New York. He went to college at Oswego State. So a fellow SUNY. I got my PhD at Stony Brook.
Oh, cool.
Love all things the SUNY system. Then he moved to an affordable Manhattan. He pursued acting and performed with his writing partner, Tracy Paust. Is that how you
Hmm.
pronounce it?
Yes.
Okay. In their comedy group, Loud Blouse. Okay. I love that name. After relocating to Los Angeles, they got a job on a show that, some of you may know called Will and Grace. Stayed with it for its entire 8 seasons. Eventually was running it and returned for the reboot. Over the years, there were Emmy nominations, a Writers Guild Award for Outstanding Writing, and Episodic Comedy in 2018. He's also worked on several other shows with Tracy, including Ugly Betty, which was Emmy and NAACP award nominated. He also worked on The Crazy Ones, which they ran and had the privilege to write for the great Robin Williams. He currently is Zooming from Spain, and he lives there with his husband and cats, Howard Bannister and Elliot. So, Jon, welcome to the Ivory Tower Boiler Room.
Thank you, Andrew. Thanks for having me. Two things
Yeah.
I have to say right up front. You you said John Cannoli because you were thinking of. I told you how to pronounce it. Like I said, Canali, like cannoli, and then you said John Cannoli, which is
I say
hilarious
Canali,
because you
but
were thinking of
I was thinking
cannoli.
of cannoli, so I'm so hungry.
So am I, and now I want a cannoli. And the second thing is, I dyed this. Can I swear?
Yes, you can curse as much as you
I
want.
dyed this little fucking beard of mine, and I left it on too long, and now I'm very conscious. So I want people to know I was intentionally, unintentionally dark.
Well,
Or,
Jon Kinnally, there you go. Uh, you've just written such an exciting book called I'm Prancing as Fast as I Can, My Journey from a Self-Loathing Closet Case to a Successful TV Writer with Some Self-Esteem. And I first want to just get into your cover, which I want to assume is, you dressed in drag. Is that true?
Yeah, that's from like if I'd have to say the year, I'd say 92 or 93. And I think it was for the drag march. There was a year, that year, I guess, when Giuliani, um, crypt keeper that he
Mhm.
is, tried to make the gay pride parade went down Fifth Avenue, for decades. And then he decided they had to go down First Avenue for traffic maybe control reasons, but really in real life, First Avenue is just it's less seen.
Yeah.
So I can't remember now. It's so long ago. If we did that, the gay community went down First Avenue, but there was definitely we were like fuck that, and so there was a march down Fifth Avenue, and I may be conflating things, but I think it was a drag march, and I think that's what that outfit was for, and I could be conflating a lot of different things, but there's some real facts in there somewhere, and yeah, it was never it was never meant to be like beautiful drag, but it was just like a fun dress up thing. I had no desire to call. I could never have called myself a drag queen. I could not do the makeup, which is why I have sunglasses.
Well, and I remember you writing about that in your book that, not only calling Rudy Giuliani the Keeper, which I think is hilarious, but it's also just so interesting because there's that much showed picture of Giuliani in drag, right?
Yes, and he also when he broke up with separated from his wife, he was staying. Much was made in the press, New York Post probably, of him staying with this gay couple and like sleeping on their couch or some bullshit.
Mhm.
And I think he really did stay with this gay couple. So even though we all hated him then, we hated him. Everyone smart hated him. But how did he become this? I don't know. He went and even insane, became even more hateful, if that's possible. And who is this gay couple? I want to know who they were who would take him in.
Mm, yeah.
Sadly, they probably still around and voted for Trump. So
Yeah, I was gonna say it's probably someone in the administration. But I love if we can start with your foreword that's written in such a witty prose by Ryan O'Connell
yeah,
is I think it's
great.
so interesting what you do there. Like having just your friendship with Ryan, but also having this real connection of the generations. Like, having someone who speaks more from a millennial perspective, Ryan, and then, I'm assuming you're a baby boomer, but I don't want to assume. Or are you
I'm
Gen
on
X?
the cusp of baby boomer and Gen X. That was the next thing. I'm
Yes.
there. I'm like walking the line. So
Okay. You're a boomer Xer. Okay.
don't Google the years though,
No,
because
no, we will not do that, John. But what was it like to just, how your friendship with Ryan developed, or even what you think about the importance of having these generational conversations, like in the
oh,
gay
I
community?
think everyone needs to have different generational, different generation friends. When I met Ryan, I assumed a certain thing about millennials. That thing that everyone said, the real no attention span, need for uh, gifts and to be told how great they're doing, and all these kinds of things that people said. And I saw it, and it was kind of there. He made a lie out of all of that. Like we met on a show, Daytime Divas, we were working on, and he immediately was asking me questions about me and what my life was like back then. And I was like, "You're not who I thought you should be in your generation." And he knows about older music. He loves '80s music, '90s music. He's he really he really is unique in that way, or hopefully maybe not unique in that way, but was really interested in hearing about me and my life. And most people don't do that, whatever generation they are. Most people are kind of, some people want to know that, but then they kind of want to go back to talking about themselves. He genuinely was interested. So he's kind of, I don't know if he's an old soul, and I don't know if that's a thing with him, but he's kind of got souls of different ages in him. I really appreciate it. And one day he's just said, "Do you um, do you kind of resent generations after you because you came of age in New York in late '80s, mid '90s era and AIDS and HIV and activism? Do you feel like you lost out when it comes to sex or missed something? Because today, if you're not HIV positive, you can take PrEP. You don't have to think every time like, oh, what, did I catch something? Am I gonna catch something? I don't want to use a condom. I'm gonna use it. Oh, whatever. And I said to him, yeah, I think I do. But the fact that he was asking was so interesting to me. It wasn't until later when I thought, you know what? I was thinking in our conversation, I was like, no, I don't think I missed anything. It was just different. We all had a lot of sex back then. It was, I think, just different. Maybe it was a little more fraught, maybe. I don't know. Because there was like there were some unknowns every time, but like we didn't have less. It was just different.
Well, and I even remember you talk about like when you're still in the closet and like there's this discussion you have about like what got you hot and bothered, and it's this like man, if you want to describe it, John, this man in pain in a way on a
Oh, there's
pill
these things
bottle.
called. I wish I had it. I don't have my. It's in storage. All our stuff's in storage. I was obsessed. My mom had a bad back. She had back pain, and there was this thing called, and I don't know if they still have them. Doan's pills. And back then, it was a red box of Doan's pills, and this had this man on the cover, and you just saw his back, and he was holding his back like he was in really bad pain, and these were for back pain. And I remember seeing it in my parents' room, maybe, or in the medicine cabinet or something, and just seeing like that man, that back, those muscles, and he's in pain, and there was so much going on with him, and I kind of made a whole story up. I decided like, I, he he worked hard, supported his family. Maybe he was in construction, and it was killing his back, but he was doing what he had to do, and it didn't take away his love for his kids. He didn't take out his anger on his family or anyone. He dealt with his back pain with these pills in moderation, and and I decided he was hot from the front, like hairy chest, Magnum PI, Tom Selleck before he became an asshole, and probably a mustache because this was the '70s, and I was just like, he was everything to me, and I carried that box with me. I still have that original box from the
Wow.
'70s. Like I said, it's in storage, but it should be here on an altar. Uh, yeah, I was obsessed with it. I took it and hid it. So my mom, fuck her back pain. It was more about me.
Well, like how else were you like in that like where you grew up, which it seems like you grew up in New York, is that true?
Yeah, Syracuse, New York, upstate New York.
Okay. Yeah, so you grew up in a city, but it wasn't necessarily like you could easily get to Greenwich Village or like
No,
have.
no, I never went anywhere.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So no, so like what was your access to certain gay iconography? Like did you have certain music artists that you were listening to? Did you know about adult cinema?
Well, um, there was I mean, my access, anything gay was kind of bad, even if it was like on television and my TV shows, my sitcoms that I loved that raised me and are ultimately maybe the reason why I wrote for TV. But any gay characters were just there for comedy and fun, or to die if it wasn't a comedy. Um, so I couldn't. Those are my touchstones, and those weren't great touchstones to have. But anything else kind of gay. I remember finding a Blue Boy magazine on a bus once, and you don't even know what Blue
No,
Boy
what
is.
is a Blue Boy
I didn't
magazine?
even know. I never. It was like before Playgirl. I don't know when it came out. Blue Boy it was called. It's on a seat on the bus, but it was like when I opened it, there were naked guys in it, and I was like, oh my god, this exists. Like, and then I discovered the Adam and Eve bookstore downtown Syracuse had something called the Adam and Eve bookstore, like in a part of downtown you didn't go to, and I
Wait, is
went.
this like the Adam and Eve adult toy store?
Well, I don't know if it's any.
Okay.
I think this might have been like it's a mom and pop.
Oh,
It's
okay.
like a mom and pop production kind of store, but it showed, it was they showed videos, and everyone that walked by probably just assumed it was straight videos because that there was straight pictures and stuff. But when you went in, it wasn't, and there were like you could go in a booth and watch gay videos, and it was revelatory for me. I had never seen anything like that. I didn't know. It's so weird to say it now, but it was kind of shocking that it existed. It existed, and that was the turning point. I can still remember the video. I think I saw it. I ran into it years later online somewhere. I was like, "Oh my God, this is the video that I saw of these two guys in a giant rock. They were outside on the beach or something, and wow, it was just eye-opening."
Do you miss those moments of going in the booth?
Well, the booths were kind of filthy, but do I miss moments of where it was like, um,
Like that nostalgia, I
the
guess.
nostalgia? Yes, thank you. Of how it was. I wouldn't want to go back necessarily, but there was an element of like when you had to be on the DL, in a way, and things kind of were hotter. I mean, you walked. I mean, I guess now maybe you get online and you hook up online. You go on Sniffies or something, and you can. But in the early '90s, you walked through. There was a little park on the Lower East Side, just above. I forget the name of it. Maybe it was above 14th Street or something. It was a smallish park, but if you just walked through it at night, late at night, it was crazy, and there would be people having sex in the bushes and stuff, and not a lot, but that was kind of hot.
Mm.
Maybe not for like a couple with their kid that walked by, although this was late at night. They
Yeah.
shouldn't be walking with their kids late at night.
Yeah. W-
But I kind of missed that element. But I had it, I had it. So it was a period of time that was fun, and that I don't want to say danger. The danger was other things, but just the furtive sex, if that's the right word, that could happen quickly and outside, and people might see or something. There was an element to that that was kind of exciting.
Yeah, like I remember you have such just an excellent way, as a prolific TV writer. I'm not surprised how beautifully your prose carries, but I feel that this balance you strike with your humor, but also the reality of harrowing experiences. Like you even talk about being in the East Village and like encountering, drag culture, and you like have some ambivalent feelings about drag. And I think like going along with you on that journey is really fascinating. Like, was that something you really were striving for in telling your
Well,
narrative?
I think journey. You're just making me think this because it's a good question. But like things do are were a journey for me, and hopefully maybe for other people, they can see that way too. But like the drag thing, for instance, it was kind of embarrassing when you're younger. For me, it was. Um, Men in drag and like you know except for the one on All in the Family did this drag queen. It was so amazing. Norm, oh my God, I'm forgetting his name, who wrote it, but anyway, they had an amazing drag character. I would encourage you to look up an old All in the Family episode about Beverly the drag queen, because spoiler alert, like Archie is, he's can't believe this freak show after he finds out it's a man in a dress, and then they bring her back. And well, Archie has his thing with her, and he learns to respect her. That's all I'll say. It's amazing. It's amazing.
I'm gonna look it up.
Um,
Yeah.
that was one of the things that I always remember. Um, but Yes, but journey. Yeah, so embarrassment by some of this stuff, and like, and then realizing I should be embarrassed about my embarrassment. So like, tamping that down, and telling the outward me saying like, you know, yes, drag, it's empowering, it's something, but kind of secretly thinking, ugh, I don't know. And then I remember this march. Went to march on Washington, and there were drag queens, as there should be, of course, everywhere and always. And one of them had the sign that said "Suck cock for Jesus." And I was like, my friends were laughing, and I was like, "Oh no! Oh my God! Why? They're gonna whatever." No, and then but then I in the book, and I talk about going to the South. We did this journey to the South with some friends of mine in places I've never been to, and most people don't and shouldn't maybe. And seeing this low rent drag queen, and thinking it was going to be kind of funny, and then being really inspired by her performance with this live pigeon, um, which was supposed to be a white winged dove because she was singing Stevie Nicks song, and Oh no, she wasn't. It was Bette Midler's song, "Fly, Fly Away." Wind beneath my wings. It
Wind
was
beneath my
wind
wings.
beneath my
Oh, how
wings. But she
funny.
had a pigeon. She had a pigeon, not a white-winged dove.
She
Oh my
couldn't get the
God.
white dove.
No, so she had to change her whole
It was an off-brand drag show.
her whole number. But and it was hilarious because of supermarket makeup and
Yeah.
obviously Tammy Faye makeup and wig and the Ross Dress for Less thing. But in the poor pigeon she released when she sang "Wind Beneath My Wings," and it was all kind of hilarious. But I also saw something in her that was like she was fucking committed, and she
Mm.
loved what she did, and she had a message. I don't know. I had an epiphany, which is my new drag name starting right now, and I came back from that like being all about drag and being a drag hag and letting it work. I have always worked with drag queens in New York and in comedy groups and on stages and stuff. But I came back like fully committed to that. I'm never going to try it because I never was pretty enough, I thought, in makeup. But uh, yes, full on support, drag queen, and so a journey, just like a journey. When I don't know about other people, but like hating myself for being gay, trying to not do that. Thinking I'm not gay. I won't be gay. I'll pray to God I'm not. Oh, maybe I'm bi. Oh my God, I'm bisexual. I'm bisexual. That's halfway to straight. So that's half straight. That's who I am. And David Bowie and Elton John had said they were, I guess, at some point in the 70s. And so I thought, that's what I am. And then I even would think, well, I can go to a shrink and get that gay half kind of removed or pushed way down. So it's maybe 3/4 straight,
Mm.
1/4 gay. Um, but so then at some point, oh, I'm not bi, I'm gay, and then I'm gay. So the whole thing is like it was a journey for me, and maybe other people had that similar journey. I hope so.
Well, even like the commitment that you saw in the drag queen. I mean, I'm obsessed with Betty Buckley, so unlike Ryan, I know
Speaking
who
of
Betty
drag queens,
Buckley is. I know her as, Margaret White in Carrie the musical, and of course,
which I saw.
you
I was one
saw.
of the
Okay,
like,
well, we have to talk about that a little, John, because I had on someone who created this master cut of the musical on YouTube, which is free
oh,
actually. Eric
oh,
Champney is his name, and I just have this fascination with the lore of that musical and like seeing it, imagining what that was like. Like, what was that experience? Do you remember seeing
well,
Carrie?
you saw it either on opening night or closing night. I think.
Yeah.
I guess probably it did previews. I don't remember. But I went with my friend Ron, and I don't remember if I knew it was bad going in. I can't remember. I must have, because there must have been people talking and writing about it and stuff. But it was really, really fucking bad, and it should have been. I remember there being a lot of blood, but I remember maybe I shouldn't say this. I think the lead girl, because she was very young. I don't think she was cast. I think she was miscast. And Betty did her best, and I'm a fan. She's got an amazing voice, even if and sadly she's been in some bad things. But I'm trying to have specific memories of it. We even had good seats, and there's nothing. It would have been better to have bad seats, I suppose. But there was a song about like the locker room scene with the girls in towels, I think.
Hmm.
I'm trying to remember if I'm trying to differentiate the movie from the musical. And I can't remember anymore. I can't
Yeah,
remember
there's a
anymore.
song like that happens with Charlotte Demois, who like actually has
Wow.
gone on to have a huge
Yeah.
Broadway career as a
Yeah.
dancer. And there
Yeah.
was like all the Debbie Allen choreography. There was like
Yes.
one where it's Out for Blood, which I think is the opening of Act Two, where they're getting the
Yes.
pig's blood and like they're
Yes.
doing flips. It's like it's just chaotic choreography, like incredible, but also like what's happening.
I remember it not having captured the tone of the movie.
No,
Like
no.
I don't remember. I don't remember, and I'm sorry I'm not giving you more specifics because forgetting brain things.
Well, this
But
was like 1988.
yes, I don't remember like it was a movie that's near and dear to my heart. I saw it at the drive-in on my bike because I had to see it. So I think I snuck in, whatever, and sat on my bike and watched it. But I don't remember the tone being scary. They really didn't nail a tone at all. And I know you could have. You could have, even with material like that. But God bless Betty Buckley. You know, she always does her best, and she comes out of everything. You come out of everything you see with her going, she was amazing, whether or not anything around it was. I think I saved the program, and
Wow.
if I did, I'll send you some pictures of the program.
Yes, please do. Please do.
Yeah.
So then that you actually got to take acting class with
Oh,
Betty.
yes. I love her so much.
Yeah, so this is after she was in
Oh,
cast.
this was, yeah, it was a few years after. It's probably 94, maybe. And the reason I did that is because I saw she was offering a meditation acting, or acting with meditation or something like that. And I was really all about like meditation is gonna change my life. And I still think that. I just have to do it. But I took the class with her on I think it was on East 4th Street in East Village. And so you would come in with a pillow, you bring your pillow, you sit down, she talked to us about her style of meditation, and we did it, and we meditated sitting on our pillows. And some people, she was like, you can lay down, you know, if you can't sit because you got back things or whatever, you know, feel free to lay down and I'll take you through the meditation. And like you'd always hear like some light snoring coming from people around the room on their pillows. And I was always so embarrassed for Betty, thinking like, oh, people fell asleep. But then when you went to do a scene, you went somewhere else and you meditated for 22 minutes, I think. You came back and you did your scene right from your meditation. And I got to say, like, it might have been some of the best acting I've ever done, and other people that I saw. And the ones who didn't really meditate weren't as good. I think she was on to something. And she does it, and she's always really good. So there. She sang happy birthday to me as we were leaving one night. The class was on my birthday, and I told her, or someone told her, I don't know. And we were walking down East 4th Street, the group, because we were all going the same direction, and she sang happy birthday to me. Like I was like, oh, it's amazing.
Yeah, well, like,
why didn't I have a cell phone back then?
I know that would have gone viral. But you also say, Jon, that she, like, what you admired is like she would also call out students, even yourself, like if you didn't do the homework
Yes.
of observing the character or the person in reality.
She gave assignments and homework, and you had to take it fucking seriously. And they were the two gay penguins. You remember the gay penguins, maybe?
I remember, yes, the gay penguins.
Young, but oh my God, what were the names? It's in the book. I can't believe I'm forgetting their names. But
Tango is the child.
Tango was their kid, right? And Tango Makes Three, I think, might have been the children's book that came out that caused such a stir, and Million Moms March or whatever, like.
Oh yes, they wanted to add it to the banned books list. Yeah, there's a whole.
And did and probably can't find it now. Probably, I imagine. But Betty was like, observe an animal, observe it every day for an hour or as much as you can every day. And she's like, and I want you to come back and perform that animal, become it. And so I picked the penguins. I picked a certain penguin at that penguin. This was before the gay penguins, though. This was years. They came out years later. But my obsession with penguins started early, and she sent me out to watch an animal and study it. And I went to the penguin house and studied a particular penguin. And I picked one that was specific so I could see him every night. And I did the assignment. I went there every single night, Central Park Zoo, penguin house, sat there for at least an hour. It was probably weird, this guy sitting in the penguin, because it's inside, and looking through the glass. And I did it. And then I came to her class, and I got up on a block, one of those stupid acting blocks, and I did the penguin. I acted him out. And I looked at her, and she was like crying. And I'm not saying this to brag, because a part of me was like, why would she fucking cry at that? Like, she's, I mean, most people wouldn't be moved to tears, even if they thought I did a good job. But she's Betty Buckley, so she was moved to tears by my penguin. And then to bring it back to what you're saying, the next assignment was like, observe a homeless person. And then you can't do it. I couldn't do it. I didn't have time. I took double shifts. I waited tables. I probably had brunch, and then a night shift. And so I phoned it in. I came in and I made up a homeless person. It was just like doing very little. And she knew. This witchy Betty knew. And she called me on it in front of class and she said, "You didn't do the homework." And I was like, "Oh my God." And I think I started to cry. And I said, I didn't. I'm so sorry, Betty Buckley.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
like, you've been around so much talent, yourself included, Jon. But I'm just
Yeah.
curious, like, what was it like moving from acting classes into the writer's room? Because I feel like the behind the scenes of specifically TV and film writing, like, I would assume that there's not always a simpatico relationship like you and the talent, that sometimes there is a separation, but maybe
You
that's not
know,
true. Now that the fall season is here, you may be wondering, okay, I had all of these beach reads, Andrew, but now I don't know what books to read for the fall. Well, guess what? My friends at the Gay and Lesbian Review magazine have you covered. Their new September and October issue, called Forgotten Histories, features wonderful book recommendations, TV shows, and films that help excavate LGBTQ history. So, whether you're interested in learning more about the connection between shopping and the gay community, which, I have a Home Goods and Marshalls addiction, as my fiance knows, they got you covered there. They have an article about the attraction of Confederate gentlemen by the incredible writer Andrew Holleran. There's an article about the French evolution of sexual identities and even the first LGBT riot, which happened in 1953. Go over to glreview.org. You can get either a digital subscription or a print subscription. I love my print subscription, which I'm holding up right here. And with the exclusive code ITBR Choice, you will get a free issue with your subscription. So ITBR Choice, put that in the promo code section and get your hands on the Gay and Lesbian Review print or digital subscription. I know you're going to love their magazine.
Are you a fan of classic Hollywood movies?
Are you a fan of queer cinema?
Then do we have the podcast for you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Christian Garcia.
And I'm Luke Del Mar.
And we are your hosts of That Old Gay Classic Cinema, where we take a look at some of the greatest films of all time and analyze them through a queer theoretical lens.
Let's be honest. LGBTQIA+ people have been a part of Hollywood since its inception, and this podcast celebrates those artists and entertainers of yesteryear while also taking a closer look at the queer-coded characters and stories in classic Hollywood films long before queer representation entered the mainstream.
So follow us down the road of classic cinema as we give you a guide to some of the films that touched our hearts, brains, and even gave us courage to be ourselves.
You can listen to That Old Gay Classic Cinema wherever you get your podcasts, and be sure to follow us on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok.
All right, listeners, we're ready for our close-up.
Well, it depends on the show or the movie or all those. There's lots of factors that would come into that, but I could speak to a specific, like, my mind goes to Will and Grace, of course, and maybe it was unique because it was such a great experience, and there's not that many of these amazing comedy shows. In my mind, it's way up there with them. And you know what? We learned, like any new show, I think you kind of learn. The actors and the writers kind of learn who they are and who the characters are. It's kind of together, like see where their strengths are, and we'd write to their strengths, or we'd write something that didn't work, and you can't force it to work. And at some point, we'd be like, well, Megan Mullally's not making that funny. It must be us, because she could, these four actors could pretty much do anything. So we'd go back, it must be us, and we'll change the writing. But it was kind of also became a little collaborative because they were in conversations and there was a good relationship. There was a really good relationship between the writers and the actors on that show. I mean, at some point, you maybe listen to them, and these were four smart people, so we would listen to their thoughts and their things, and we'd have to go back to the room and then interpret or reinterpret or do it or not do it.
Mm.
But there was a respect and what am I trying to say? Like there was a collaboration and there was a trust, especially on our part. Anyway, I can't speak for the actors, but it seemed like there was, that we'd get to some really great place, and we usually almost always did. So I don't think you could have that if the writers and the actors weren't in some kind of symbiotic relationship.
Yeah. Can you tell when you watch, like, are you still, or were you always a consummate TV watcher, or do you
Oh my
not
God,
really
yeah.
like, so you love the genre?
Well, I was I grew up in the 70s, and I don't know if that's considered the great sitcom decade. I don't know, but it seemed like it was to me anyway, because sitcoms raised me. Just watch that 4 hours of every night. I don't know if there were 8 to 10, 4 sitcoms maybe each night. I don't know. Tuesday night was the night of all the good ones, Laverne and Shirley. These names might not mean anything to you, but yes, I would watch TV just like a foot and a half or 2 feet away from my face, and my parents would be freaked out by that. But I don't know, it raised me. He was my babysitter, my parents, my lover. That's kind of weird. But I loved it, and it didn't surprise me that after a while when I was writing for television and I kind of put that together. I thought, oh yeah, that journey makes sense now, looking back on it. That I'd want to give back to my lover because they gave me so much. Yeah, I just love it. I will always love TV. I still watch it every night. It relaxes me.
Yeah. Well, in sitcoms, like even when I grew up,
You know?
I was obsessed with, I mean, Will and Grace was a little before, I would say,
Yeah.
not my time, but like what I was consuming. But I do remember like Desperate Housewives was such a Sunday tradition in my house.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Modern Family, of course.
Yep.
And I feel like now with streaming, like, what are your thoughts about the sitcom industry? Do you feel like there still is a hold on sitcoms, or things have just really gone in all these different directions with what people are consuming? Do you feel, Jon, that like with your expertise, like knowing what it's like in the writer's room, do you enjoy well, I guess what I'm asking is, do you just feel instinctually you're always looking for the puns, or like you can kind of tell if there's not really a cohesive relationship between the writers and the cast, or the script is just not working
I
out the
think
way it should be?
yeah. If you got a good room, and I know the Will and Grace room, there were changes, but there was also a core kind of group of people, and boy, it was fucking fun. And I look back on those days in that writers' room so fondly, and maybe I don't remember the ones that weren't when a script blew up or something and it wasn't. But for the most part, it seems like my memory is that those being so much fun and making each other laugh, and things coming out of that, and sometimes someone brings ideas and that would make us laugh and riff, or something would come out of us just making each other laugh. So, and then and if the actors laugh, then and the crew, Jimmy Burrows, who directed all the Will and Graces amongst many other millions of shows, the crew didn't laugh. He would. So if the crew didn't laugh at something during a run through, it wasn't funny, and you had to change it. But making each other laugh, creativity comes out of that. It is hard to be creative when you're not in that vibe of having an idea and riff off this idea and he rips off of riffing off of other ideas. Sadly, there's a deadline, so you had to in writing a TV show, most things you have to it has to be shot this night. It has to be done. This actors have to get the script, blah blah blah. So you can't just wait till the moments are lightning and everyone.
So the idea hits you.
yeah. So sometimes you gotta force it, and sometimes that works, and sometimes it doesn't.
And I imagine that you probably get asked a lot, like when people know, or even when you were writing for these shows, do they ask all the time, what was it like to work with such and such actor? Or like that constant question of, are they nice? Like for some reason, I feel that the public always wants to know if actors are nice people. Now that the college semester has begun, you know that there are so many books that I can't wait to recommend to you all. Well, my favorite independent publisher, Broadview Press, has some incredible books that have just come out. One of them I'm actually using in my writing course. It's called Writing on Fire, a fierce yet friendly guide to writing humanities essays in college by Rachel Tukolsky. It is such an accessible and interesting book that includes writing exercises for your students. I highly recommend it. Another book that you should get your hands on, especially if you are a writing or English professor, is Academic Writing Now by David Starkey. It includes wonderful, popular essays, nonfiction essays that you can use in your classroom, and they cover a wide range of genres. I cannot wait to use them in my courses. And another book just in time for the Halloween season is Vampire Literature and Anthology, co-edited by Robin Warner and Elizabeth Lewis. I had both of them on the podcast, so listen to that episode because you're going to love all of the vampire literature we talk about. Use my exclusive promo code, go to broadviewpress.com and use the code Ivory Tower for 20% off your order. Yes, 20% off your order. Happy reading.
It's such
how do you handle those questions?
I do that too, though. I always say to my friends, are they nice? If my friend meets someone, and it's such a weird question because when you think about it, it's like everyone should be nice. I mean, that should be their base or their default or whatever. But I still do that too. If my friend has met someone that I admire, like, are they nice? Please tell me they're nice. And I get that a lot too. And I usually they are, or I can say they did this nice thing or they were really good. But everyone's entitled to have a shitty day. So I don't know. Glenn Close, I'm just picking a name out of nothing. She did Will and Grace, and I said hello, and I maybe had 5 seconds with her. Was she nice? I don't know. I didn't have enough connection with her, and she seemed to be. But even if she weren't or somebody weren't, they might have just had a bad day. And we can't all. So that question of were they nice is such a weird question in when it comes to celebrity, because you hear things about people and I've even spread that too. Oh, I heard she was whatever. I heard, this so-and-so, the story I talk about in the book, but it's a certain actress, and someone told me this, they heard that she bought coffee for everyone in that scene. She went out, a PA came back with Starbucks and then kept frappuccinos and all kinds of delicious shit for everyone that was in that scene, except this one extra didn't get it. And so this extra, I told her what a bitch she was. And who was it? I can remember, but maybe I won't say. Read the book.
Read the book for who it is. There you go. I like that, John.
And I remember thinking, well, A, that didn't happen, but B, if it did happen, maybe it was just a mix-up, or maybe that extra did something hideous, or the actress who just, I don't know, had a bad day, didn't do that. I don't know. There's lots of reasons. So you couldn't just say that this actress is a bitch. Even though we all want to say that. So,
but it's like a pressure cooker / the limelight that they're in. Right. Everything gets weighted more sometimes.
Oh yeah. There's a microscope. You got to zoom out though. Sometimes zoom out.
Yeah. Well, like even when, being in that circle, like being in the Hollywood industry, like what for you was it that really just opens the doorways? Was it, putting in, I'm assuming, which you have, putting in the work? Is it the connections you've made, your partnership with Tracy? Like what for you, John, is the secret sauce to getting into Hollywood?
Relationships, I guess, if there is such a thing. It's with me, it's relationships. I'm not much of a self-starter or it's difficult for me to move and be motivated and self-start and give myself a deadline and do all that. When I hear people who can do that, I get up and I write for 4 hours, and then it's like, oh, I'm so envious. But to me, it was relationships. Hooking up with Tracy, my writing partner, we met waiting tables, and then having a comedy group, and then so we had to write stuff for, because there was a date at we had to do La Mamas, which La Mamas was an old, I'm sure it's not there. Yeah, we had to wait, I lost my train of thought. What was I just talking about?
Oh, no, that, like you
yes.
were working with Tracy.
Yes, the relationship, all about that, because she, then I had a writing partner, and then you got to show up for them, and they show up for you, hopefully, and then she had a friend, Michael Patrick King, who she knew since she was very young, and they were both young and doing stuff in a regional theater, and then he became who he is, and then he liked our shows from our group, our comedy group, and then he kind of got our name to Max and Dave, who created Will and Grace, Max Muchnick and David Cohan, and so yes, relationships. That is really a lot of what it's about. It was for us, and we were very fortunate to have those relationships, and I can't imagine doing it without people I don't know anyone, but somehow I got this job, and then I got this job, and then I got this job. I don't know, in TV anyway. I can only speak for TV, but that once we got in, someone helps you to this, someone helps you to this, someone helps you here, and then you're in, and then you help someone there, and you help someone to this, and then and you get back, and so who yeah.
Wait, so Michael,
meet a lot of people, meet as many people as you can in the world.
No, that's good advice, and that networking. I mean, it's even in academia or in any, I would say, industry, that networking is key. But wait, so Michael Patrick King is of Sex and the City fame, right?
Yes, and The Comeback, and which is coming back, and oh my God, millions of other things. Two Broke Girls. We worked with them on Two Broke Girls. Lots of shit.
So, like, as Will and Grace was premiering, like, I feel like this might connect to the Gay Penguins in an interesting way, but like the spectacle of Will and Grace, right, is how openly gay, the characters were, or the character and of Will. Do you feel that the public, were you anticipating, oh, this is going to cause a splash, we know that this is going to become such an iconic show, or did it take you by surprise, the reception?
I think it took everybody by surprise. Somebody else might say it didn't, but I think it did, because I kind of thought, and maybe talk to Tracy about this. This might crash and burn because it came on the heels of Ellen. This is all way before your time, but you seem like a TV geek, so maybe you'll know Ellen.
Yeah, no, I know Ellen's show.
Had her show,
her TV show before the talk
TV show. Yeah, and she came out, on it in Life, on the cover of Newsweek or Time magazine or whatever, and it kind of flamed out quickly for reasons people could talk about and discuss, but and then Will and Grace going on there, like it seemed like, well, no, it seemed like the exact bad time to have another gay show. And I have a theory. Well, the studio, I think, really pushed for it. So, God bless. I forget. I should know the network person, but again, I forget things. But Max and Dave fought for it. Jimmy Burrows fought for it. There was I want to say Warren Littlefield, but I don't know if I'm right about that, fought for it. So all to their credit. But I also think that Bill Clinton played a role, because here's my theory is that Monica Lewinsky scandal, which you probably also remember.
Oh, I know that. But I know the scandal. Yes.
That hit around the same time. And I think the public, because we didn't have, social media wasn't a thing. It wasn't 24-hour news feed. Like the conversations and everything was about Monica Lewinsky scandal and the Bill Clinton blowjob and blah, 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 cigars and stuff. And then Will and Grace got on the air in that time. And I kind of think maybe the right wing was just distracted. And then by the time they noticed it had been on and it was getting numbers, and that's just my theory. So, thank you, Monica and Bill. Yeah.
Well, and then
Again,
you get shows, well, like Sex and the City, but eventually I have done a lot with Queer as Folk on the podcast, like rewatching it with
which
different
one? There's so many.
the US, the
The first
2000
US.
2001. Mm-hmm.
Have you seen the British one?
No, but everyone tells me I should watch it.
Oh, it's great. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's of a time. I loved it. That was amazing. They're all good. And Ryan was in the last one. Ryan O'Connell was in the last.
I know. I
In
need to watch it. I need to watch the Peacock version.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yes.
like when Queer as Folk came out in the US in 2000, like were you surprised that a show like that got picked up? I mean, it was on Showtime, but
But still, yeah, no,
but
anything gay.
still, it was pretty
We celebrated
groundbreaking.
anything gay. Yeah, yeah. I remember anything gay you kind of celebrated and you knew. And for a community of people, if I can say that, who just looked for crumbs of something to maybe validate them or tell them or just there's someone kind of like me, but crumb, and then started to get more than crumbs, Ellen and Will and Grace, and then and American version of Queer as Folk, and these things weren't crumbs anymore. So we really were really aware of them and grateful and glad, glad with
Yeah,
two A.
but like unlike current shows like Fellow Travelers, where both actors are gay in real life,
Yeah, that's another, yeah.
that Queer as Folk faced a lot of publicity with the actors constantly being asked what their sexuality is, and like half of the actors, maybe even more than half, are straight in real life. Like, was that something that in Will and Grace was also a spectacle of the press trying to figure out everyone, like trying
Yeah,
to figure out
yeah,
the sexuality?
that's always a thing people are trying to do and will always do. And again, that's kind of like what we were talking about earlier. Maybe it's kind of that journey of like in the entertainment industry and maybe other industries where it's like straight guys playing tragic or homophobic, funny gay guys to like straight guys playing more multi-dimensional gay character, LGBT characters, and then maybe gay actors suddenly playing an LGBT actor, and then an openly gay. So there's kind of maybe a journey in there too, and how it's come about. And yeah, I remember like people being, Sean was openly gay to everyone. I don't think he wasn't openly gay in the media. And that's his journey. He has his own journey, and sadly for him, it was happening publicly, and most of ours didn't and don't, and we got to make our own decisions and things. But so I think he struggled with that, and he had his own. And I don't remember anyone being really uptight. You know what? There were some gays uptight about Eric McCormick being straight. I never have a problem with that. I think it's great when Fellow Travelers had these two openly gay actors playing gay characters. I think that's great, and very aware of all that. But I actually am one of those people who don't think it's necessary for a gay actor to be played by a gay. A gay character to be played by a gay actor. I don't think that's necessary, and I think there are people who think that. But think of how many great performances have been straight actors playing gay characters. That, oh my God, we would have missed these performances if that were a thing we had. So we would have gotten different. Anyway, I don't have a problem with that. I think people get uptight about it, and it's weird. I feel bad for these straight actors who get dragged for turning in a really great performance of a gay character, LGBT character. You know what? Maybe with the T, it's different now. With the T, the trans, I think when I look back at something I saw, Twin Peaks, we did a rewatch last year, and David Duchovny played a trans character on it, and I remember at the time thinking, oh, it's great. Wow, this is great. great representation, David Duchovny. And now looking back, it should have been a trans person. There probably weren't a lot of trans actors, openly trans actors then. Even if there were, I don't know, David Lynch would have hired one. And David Duchovny was kind of a name-ish. So I don't know. So I'm amending what I said. The T should be played by trans people. The LGBTQ, I personally think anyone can, the best actor now at this point. We've got enough. There's enough actors out there now who can do a good part. So who's going to do it the best?
Yeah. Well, and I also feel that a lot of male straight actors have been pressed if they're not gay, well, that's what a male straight actor is. But if they're playing a gay character, then say a female straight actor playing a lesbian, bi, or queer character. Like, I just think of Cate Blanchett and Carol. Like, I don't remember a lot of scrutiny of her being straight. So I also wonder, is this like a gendered issue too between, male actors and female actors? Like,
I think you're right about that. I think you mean our male characters and actors under a little bit more of a scrutiny than a Cate Blanchett and Carol. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it would seem that way. Yeah, and that probably speaks to like gender politics and stuff, which I don't know if I'm smart enough to figure out. But I know that people just be, women. It's okay, to think of them that way because,
well, it's kind of like, I wonder if it ties to that, almost the Kinsey scale of, well, women are more flexible on the spectrum.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to get to, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, oh, that's fine that they're playing.
Carol could just as well marry a guy, maybe, when she's done with that actress. I can't remember her name. Yeah, whereas the gay guy is going to be a gay guy, and it's kind of threatening. And if you're watching a gay guy, especially if you're a straight man, maybe you want to know that actor is straight, so he's playing a role. Yeah, sometimes I want to go back to I wish almost, it depends on the role in the show and the actor and stuff, but I like not knowing a lot about an actor when I watch them in something. Like their religion, if they're a Scientologist, like there's things I kind of don't want to know, because then I bring something to it. I'm a gay guy watching a gay character played by a gay actor. I have no problem, or straight, but I don't want to watch if someone's a Republican.
No, yes,
not right. I kind of don't want to watch if I know, like I'll never watch Sylvester Stallone movie. I'm not going to watch those anyway, probably. But any MAGA, anyone I know is a Republican, I'm not going to go and pay money or just sit in whatever in my living room and give them any time. So, and if I know someone's a Scientologist, which I don't care for, I won't watch it.
Well, like that's my conundrum with The Handmaid's Tale, is I know about Elizabeth Moss, and I'm just like, wait.
I didn't watch it for that reason.
I know, and it's such a good show, but at the same time, you're right, John. It's like when you open up that can of worms as an actor to publicize the views that go against what the theme is of the dystopian show, it's hard to juggle that. And, it's also like J.K. Rowling putting her transphobic thoughts out there and then having a new Harry Potter reboot come out.
It's forever tainted. It's tainted. Like and J.K., you're gonna die on that hill. What a hill to die on that she picked. Here's the one. I have a caveat to the one exception I make. I'm embarrassed to say, are Mission Impossible movies. Like I see them because I think the action done in them is all amazing. I've seen them all and more than once. And I kind of hate myself a little bit for that. But there's no going back to a time where you knew little about the actors, and the studios put out articles and they controlled what you knew, and it was all lies and lies. You can't go back to those times. So I don't know I don't know the answer to that. Are actors supposed to not post things and be ciphers and so you don't know anything about them, just the character they've created. That's not going to happen. But I don't know. Maybe they should. If I were an actor, maybe if I were a really successful actor, maybe I'd make sure I wasn't so exposed. Maybe just so that otherwise.
Yeah. Well, my thought is, the right wing already thinks that actors are part of a liberal agenda. So if you are progressive, then, why not just embrace it fully? Because they already think that you're part of the machine,
Right.
But,
right.
Is it okay if we just go for another 5 minutes, Jon?
Whatever you want.
Okay.
Whatever you want.
So something that I thought was so interesting is when you detail not just the sexual nature of going to a Motel 6 and having this awakening journey of finding a trucker, and everyone has to read your book to figure out what specific act happens. But I could so relate, like, even though we're separated by, 1 or 2 decades, that trying to just have that liberating experience sexually, like, really relates, and like not necessarily having the tools, right? Like there's no grinder, there's like not really a lot of avenues that you
Right.
actually do end up finding a guy, but also the way that could have turned so south, that could have really gone in a dangerous direction.
Yes.
Like it seems like there was a lot of risks that you grew up with. Like there were moments being gay where there was a reality that someone could prey upon you. Like does that
I mean, you made choices
Mhm.
back then. You always make choices, but back then, I and others like me, you made these choices though, and you took these risks, and possibly looking back on them, you might have been like, "What the fuck was I doing?" But something compels you to do it, and I guess it's probably the desire to live your authentic self.
Mhm.
And if that means taking a risk and making what could be a poor choice, you do it anyway. And I'm sure that applies to a lot of people in a lot of situations. And I know it applied to me as a young gay guy, like, because I needed to know information and find it. And I wasn't getting it. And hitting puberty and becoming sexual and having ideas and things and needing to act and being drawn, a certain way or whatever. I don't know. Suddenly you just find yourself on that bus to the Adam and Eve bookstore downtown at whatever teenage year, and and I don't know. Before you know it, you're sitting there going, "What am I doing?" And I keep doing it. I'm going. I'm walking to this bookstore. I'm doing this thing, and or I'm going to this truck stop, and this could be dangerous, but I'm doing this anyway, and I don't know. I don't. Is it good to do it? I don't know. Looking
Well, do you
back,
feel like
it's
it's because
fine.
you weren't able, like there wasn't really a cultural consciousness around being gay? Like it wasn't something where now,
No, you were making it up. You made it up, I guess, as you went along. Yeah, yeah, you make it up as you went along, um, and a lot of us made it up in similar ways as we went along. So a lot of people had similar. I mean, there were, people are all different and stuff. They have their own journeys, but from the time and place I came from, and being Catholic and closeted in the '70s, there was just you just had to find your way, and it was like in a dark movie theater, and like which I also snuck into to see not adult movies, but R-rated movies and stuff, and but in I remember hiding and going to see A Star Is Born, um, Barbra Streisand version, because there are so many, and I went in. I saw whatever movie was before it, and I didn't want to pay for the next thing, so I went in and I hid in the men's room. I was like 10 or whatever. Can't do the math. And hid in the men's room for 45 minutes maybe until the next movie came on, and it was a skanky like theater, and I don't know. That was a poor choice, but I didn't know that at the time. I unconsciously made it, and I'm glad I did.
Well, and even like when you were writing for Will and Grace, I'm assuming there were a lot of conversations about like what plot lines, with being openly gay and the way that there were so many eyeballs. Like you weren't going to put that Motel 6 experience in a American sitcom where like, eventually Brokeback Mountain gets into really more sordid, raw, there is a raw scene there, but
right.
it's very different than I'm writing for a sitcom. Like, how did you navigate that? Like knowing, okay, well, this would be the everyday reality of someone being gay, especially you as a gay writer, compared to, okay, well, we have to make sure that it follows a more family friendly tone.
Well, it had to be funny first and foremost. Funny, maybe a little something underneath it, but you had to answer to sponsors on network television. Sponsors, and would pull their money if something was going to be, and you had to answer to a network, a studio, and thank God Jimmy Burrows was the director, and he was often like a buffer between the show and the studio, and we could maybe get a little more done, push a little further than maybe another show that didn't have like someone like Jimmy Burrows behind it, supporting it, and so we were able to push and push and push, and then we'd always have to come back. So you push a little too far and you come back, but every time you can maybe go a little bit farther, get a little bit more dirty. You learn to be a lot of you write things in innuendo or write things that happened off stage, so you don't see it. So Jack can come in and say he had such a night, like making out with some guy and dancing on a box at the mine shaft or whatever, and laughs, but we didn't see that. We just hear about it. And then also you don't want to push too far. Like I remember once we wanted to have the word. There was a joke about that Grace was on a horse and she ran into something. I don't know why, and she hurt herself. She bumped her head on something. I don't know why she was on a horse, or maybe someone else was on a horse and startled her. I don't remember. But she runs into Harry Connick Jr. and it was kind of a meet cute, whatever. And he's a doctor, and he's like, "Let me look at your gash." And she was like, "Oh, I beg your pardon," or whatever. Like she's horrified about what he's saying. And he's like, "Your head wound here." And I remember like we wrote it in the script, of course, notes. Standards and practices had you cannot say this word or whatever, and arguments back and forth between the showrunners and the studio and blah. And then finally, like, they're okay. We warmed down. We can say the word gash, and somebody being like, "We got gash," into the writer's room. And I remember thinking, well, is that such a win? Is that something to celebrate that we got the word gash? We were able to say the word gash on television. Like, I don't know. It would have been nicer to have Will kiss a guy goodnight or something like that than getting the word gash on television. Being the first show to ever say that, probably the last on network, and we didn't need it. But anyway, you experimented in finding different ways to push it until you're a hit show, and then you even do a reboot, and then you can come back, and people and times have changed, and then the characters can be a little bit more dimensional, and they can have boyfriends and girlfriends and sex, and Will can be in his bed with Matt Bomer, and we can see that, and yes, we had to work towards that. It was like baby steps all the way towards that, 8 years of them.
Yeah. Like what happens late at night can now be spotlighted.
Yes.
Not the actual act, but we're still, you're not in NC-17
no
territory.
Yes.
But, so do you feel, Jon, that like putting your essays, putting your voice out there, have you learned anything about gay culture or the genealogy of history that you kind of, are weaving together differently than when you started that process of writing the book?
But my point is that, like, again, none of that matters now. None of that matters now. Um, hopefully, maybe these young gays who are going, holy shit, gay marriage. It's always been a thing in my lifetime, or when I was a kid, it happened, and now it's going away. Or anything. So it's all of one thing. It's all a struggle. It's all a fight. And you and your generation, whatever, and the ones after you, will be. If they didn't have the banner, they're picking up the banner. That's not the right word. Baton. If they weren't already holding it, they're going to have to be picking it up soon, and they know that, hopefully, and these generations are going to come together. I guess I'm saying, good might come out of it ultimately. If I could say that at this point, it's hard to see that, but I hope.
But we hope. Yeah. If we weren't united, we have to be united.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone whose rights are being threatened have to unite, and those who care about whose rights are being threatened have to unite, right?
Yeah.
Well, on that note, Jon, I feel like that's a call to arms. And I just want you to let everyone know, Jon, how can everyone get their hands on I'm Prancing as Fast as I Can?
Oh my God. How can you do it? Well, you should.
How can they follow you on social media?
They could follow. Instagram is just at Jon Kinnally, JonKinnally. Facebook, just my name. I have a JonKinnally.com website. You could buy it. You can go to my website. That'll tell you. You can also. I encourage you to go to like local bookstores, which you'd have to order it because they're not just going to have it automatically. I don't think. Because that's best.
Yes.
But get it however you can get it. As long as you get it. Try that first, and then get it in another way. And there'll be an Audible version coming out maybe in September. I can't remember.
Exciting. Okay.
Yeah, and but do get it. Do try your favorite indie bookstore, and maybe make Amazon the last resort.
Mm-hmm.
You can. God, everything is so awful. Okay, yes, that's how you do that.
Yeah. Well, Jon Kinnally, I was thinking about this as we were talking, like McNally Bookstore. That's how I now got that in my head for your last name.
Mm-hmm.
So, thank you so much. This was such a pleasure. I'm very honored to have you here.
Thank you. I had so much fun, and thank you. And I love your house with the beautiful library.
Oh yes, yeah. Eventually, cross my fingers. That's a manifesting this. So thank you, Jon, and I'm sure the listeners, they need to get their hands on your book. So everyone, let's be talking about I'm Prancing as Fast as I Can. Thanks, Jon.